Okay, wait. Go back to the Badger. Did you have to roll right over it? Did you bunny hop it? Did you bump it?
I will say this. I'm pretty sure it was a badger. And if it was, I'm not worried about its well being. It was probably just angry when Lawrence came by and probably tried to eat him because it's just like the angriest animals in the world.
Welcome to the Canadian Cycling Magazine podcast. I'm Matthew Pioro, and with me, at long last, is Matt Hansen. Welcome, Matt.
It's been a minute.
It's totally been a minute. We've been crazy busy, and maybe we'll talk a bit about what's keeping us so busy. But in this episode, the feature interview is with Rob Britton. As most of you know, listeners, he won Unbound XL. That was more than 2 weeks ago. And actually, he's still feeling the effects of that.
Go figure.
Go figure, eh? Race for almost 18 hours and it kind of has an effect on you. Rob and I talk about that, and also he recently competed in Gravel Nationals. That was in Water Valley, Alberta, and we get some of that news in the mix there too. That's all coming up. But, Matt, as you were saying, it has been a while since we've chatted. Cycling season is in full swing. It's going full gas, huh?
Oh, there's races all the time. Never stops.
You and I have not only been, you've been juggling most of the racing coverage, and we've had a ton of gear launches this month in June. It's relentless. This really is an endurance event for us. Everyone, we want your sympathy. It's
wine. Poor us. We get to test bikes and watch bike races at the office. Whoa. See, most people, when they watch bike races at work, they have their screen minimized. No, we have ours maximized, and a boss walks by and watches it with you. So, yeah, it sucks.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Maybe I'll put this wine away for now. Yes. A long time ago, I remember watching bike races like that on the sly at my office. But now, yeah. And then eventually one of us pulls the headphones out and turns it at high volume. And the runners in our office at Running Magazine, who we love dearly, but are like, what are you guys doing? What's going on?
And yet, when they watch their little jogathons, whatever they're called, they have them on full blast.
Those jogathons.
Kip somebody or other.
Diamond.
Yeah, I don't know.
League or something. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, we are going to talk bikes. And as you mentioned, as I mentioned, the racing has been relentless. I'm just looking at the newsletter that you put out a few days ago. Okay, Dauphiné wraps up. Haley Smith wins the Safari Gravel race. There's zebras around her in this event. Gravel Nationals, I just mentioned, won by Ben Perry and Devin Clark on the elite men's and women's side. Nadia Gontova was second overall at the Tour of the Pyrenees. Whew, busy.
And that's the problem, too. All these Canadians doing well, you know? It's like I got my set stories. Okay, I'll do this race, and then all of a sudden, Isabella. Oh, come on. Okay, great. Another good ride for you. Nadia Gontova. Oh, great. Another good ride for you. Can you just slow down a little bit? Mediocrity. Satisfactory at best, you know? There's nothing wrong with finishing 50th, trust me. Or 80th. Or just finishing. Take it from me.
Matt Hansen doesn't want A students in his class.
No.
They're too much work for him. C+. Oh, and I forgot all the downhill action and the seeming dominance of Jackson Goldstone and Gracie Hemstreet.
And it's not just a one-time thing. Then they do it the next weekend, too. Like, take your one win of the year and move on.
Well, we're going to focus on one win. And that's not to give Rob Britton any grief. But he actually, in this interview, he talks about how before Unbound XL, he wasn't having a great season. He gets into that. He talks about the significance of a pee break. Yes, we talk about a pee break. He tangled with wildlife during Unbound XL, and he was very polite about it. I was really curious about how Unbound XL, this win, compared with his win back in 2017 at the Tour of Utah, which he took overall. That was his previous career as a pro roadie, and now he's
retired. riding 18-hour races.
Yeah, this new retirement for roadies where they, yes, ride for 18 hours. Near the end of this interview, you'll find out why, in the long run, this big win at Unbound kind of doesn't really affect where Rob Britton is headed in the gravel space. So, without further ado, let's hear my conversation with Rob Britton. Rob Britton, welcome back to the Canadian Cycling Magazine podcast. You won the Unbound XL gravel race on May 31st. That event is 350 miles long, nominally. I think your Strava post, entitled Funbound, puts the distance in kilometers at 579 clicks. You completed the race in 17 hours, 49 minutes and 51 seconds, breaking the previous record by roughly 2 hours and 15 minutes. We're speaking just ahead of your next event, Ghost of the Gravel, which is also Gravel Nationals. This interview will air after Nationals. Are you feeling ready for the Ghost? It's a mere 118 kilometers. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, thank you. Obviously, it's been a minute since our last conversation, but
Yeah, totally.
yeah, yeah, Gravel Nationals. So normally I never thought I'd do another national championships again after I stopped racing on the road, but here we are. I think I've said I'm never going to do this, that, or the other about a dozen times, and then I keep finding reasons to do things. With Ghost of the Gravel, one of my good childhood friends, Sean Bunnan, is the organizer, and he's organized it forever. He's bugged me to come and do it for a long time, and I finally gave in. I was planning on doing it a few years ago. I think I was even kind of registered for it in 2022 when I did my BC Epic FKT. I had this just stupid idea. I was going to do the BC Epic FKT, have 2 days off, race the Canmore Canada Cup, and then race Ghost of the Gravel, because I had never done one of these FKT things and never had no idea how badly I'd be wrecked. And when I couldn't walk after doing the ride, I certainly knew I couldn't race my bike. So here we are a few years later. I've learned a lot. I'm still kind of shattered from, or at least putting the pieces back together from Unbound. I'm still going to go and race. At this point, I have no idea what to expect from my body. Obviously, there's quite a bit of fatigue that comes from an 18-hour kind of pretty full gas ride. And then subsequently, I went up to Whistler last weekend with all my good friends and mountain bike for a weekend and got sick. So between race, travel, not training much, and then getting a head cold, I wouldn't say it's the best prep for nationals, but yeah, it's all good. I'll go there. There's lots of other things. I lived in Calgary for a few years when my wife went to school there. I've got lots of friends, some family. So there's more things than just a bike race kind of pulling me out there. If it was just a bike race, I don't think I'd go, but there's a lot more kind of ulterior motives to get out there and just do it and hang out and see people. So yeah.
I was actually wondering, if there was a parallel possibly with how riders often do grand tours on the road, and then afterwards, there's a certain period where they're really benefiting from that work. I was wondering if Unbound could do that for Gravel Nationals, but it sounds like you've got that head cold and other stuff that's not helping exactly.
It's tough with the ultra, right? It's just a different kind of stimulus. I think I'm hoping at least that my form kind of comes back for Oregon Trail race and BC bike race. I think it will help there, especially if I can turn this head cold around. But I think what you're going to see at Gravel Nationals is the guys like Andrew Lesperance, Sean Fensham, Ben Perry. I think you're going to see these guys really fire on all cylinders. A 200-mile race that's still really long, and the pace at which they're riding was just insanely high. So if they can put the pieces back together properly after that race, I think you'll see those guys flying, and everybody else will just be collateral damage.
I'm going to cut in to my own interview with Rob Britton to add a little something extra. Rob sent me a note the day after Gravel Nationals to give me a little update on just how everything went in Water Valley, Alberta. So here's how things went for Rob Britton. There's kind of some things he expected, and then something caught him a little off guard for that Gravel Nationals race.
Hey, Matthew. Thanks for the message. Yeah, back from Ghost to Gravel. It was about what I expected. Obviously, the week after Unbound was pretty busy, and like our chat before, I did get a bit of a head cold. And then when I landed in Calgary, I was immediately reminded how allergic I am to like poplar fluff or cottonwood. Yeah, it it was pretty brutal. So yeah, didn't quite get that under control for the race. Just tried to do, I don't know, some aggressive racing at the start, shake things up, and I just kind of ended up shaking myself out of the front group. And yeah, just kind of chased all day. And then when we came into the last couple kilometers, you could actually see like the front of the race is only maybe a minute or so, a minute and a half ahead of us. So I think we closed the gap down, but too little too late. But that's how she goes. Definitely still not recovered from Unbound. Yeah, I think, like I say, probably the head cold and allergy combination didn't help. And then obviously I didn't get much training because of those two things. So that's unfortunate, but no, it was cool. It was really great to see Ben win. I know he really wanted that. And also, like, with Andrew Lesprons getting third, I had two friends on the podium. So that was always, it's always fun to see. And going back, I know the organizer, Sean Bunn, super well. I've got family there. So yeah, all in all, bummer result, but yeah, lots of kind of positive things to take away from the weekend. Yeah, cheers.
And that was an update from Rob Britton that came after Gravel Nationals. Now let's jump back into my big feature interview with Rob. Before we get more into Unbound and beyond, I want to look back on your 2025 season before Unbound. How were things going at that point?
Pretty bad.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't through lack of effort or trying or just like all the usual things. Like I did a lot of things right in my eyes. When the weather was really bad here, I went back down to California to get a block of training in, which is kind of like my fortress of solitude, is going down to Santa Cruz and just putting in work. I've done it for 15 years. It's like my second home. This year I started out with Cape Epic, which I thought was a really good and really bad idea simultaneously.
Right, with Andrew Lesperance, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that was a really incredible experience. There's no part of me that regrets it whatsoever. I don't think that really hindered any part of my season. Some people think, it can really set you back, but I have so much stage racing experience, I don't think that was an issue. It helped, if anything. After that, I did Sea Otter and rode just like a junior. I just tactically was a dummy, and that cost me like a whole race. Just like looking back, it was just like, what was I thinking? Then what did I have after that? The Track was going really well. I was in the front group when there was accelerations or hard points to race. I was very much part of it. And then I just punctured. It was such a dumb place to flat. I think that's why it's so frustrating, because I just had a nice race up to that point. Everything was going well on my body, which was such an improvement. I was tactically riding it, I thought, smart. So all things improved from Sea Otter, and then I flatted and rode my bike around basically by myself for 200K or something like this, or 150K solo, catching a person for a bit. They either drop me or I drop them. And I think I rolled in for like 11th or something like that. So compared to the previous year's second place and, a pretty big ride from Pete and I, that was another disappointment. Oh yeah, Belgian waffle ride. There was Belgian waffle ride in there. The morning of the race, it's like gremlins had gotten to my bike and just like removed any front brake.
Yeah.
Like I thought, I don't know what happened the day before. It was fine, and then the day of the race, and like I was an idiot, and like I didn't bring a bleed kit. Generally, that like a bubble will happen after a flight, So you have a day or two to figure that out, but that doesn't happen the morning of the race, right? It's a pretty Shimano brake system is very, very good, and I don't know what happened, and no one at there was no tech support of the race. No one had a bleed kit. And I just ended up doing the whole race with only a rear brake. And Belgian Waffle Ride Arizona, if you've ever done it, is probably one of the more technical ones. So another missed opportunity there. So it's just a whole season of just disappointment after disappointment. And I'm kind of not used to that. And certainly my ego wasn't really digging how that felt. So when I got home from track, I was pretty blown out, more so than I thought I'd be. And I kind of just said, screw it. I'm not felt like I had done lots of like pretty serious stuff and all this like high carb stuff on the bike and sleep and just like really like kind of going back a bit more to how I used to be when I was road racing. And I was like, I was grumpy and not getting the results I wanted. So I kind of went back the other direction. I'm like, you know what, screw it. Like, I'm going to ride for fun, do a ton of volume. I'm going to like, I think before track, even then I was kind of blown out. And that's when I signed up for the XL. I didn't tell anyone. I think I asked like a couple of my sponsors and basically said like, thinking about the XL, what do you think? And Schwabi was one of the ones that responded like really positively. And I think it was basically like, yeah, I think you could win. I'm like, sweet. So signed up for the XL. And that gave me like a bit of something to look forward to. Like no one well, I guess some people look forward to the 200, but I don't. It's too hard. It's too fast. It's like, it's a dirt road race. It's just crazy. And like, I've done that stuff for a long, long time on the road. So for me, the 200 is just like, I didn't want to do that again. I didn't need that stressful thing. Like there's so much that goes into it and so little that you have control of on the day of. Anyway, so yeah, before the Unbound XL, I was actually the days leading into it, I was way more relaxed. You're kind of removed from all like the BS of the 200 and the stress that comes with that. The only stressful thing really that happened was when I went to start. I had put on a new chain the night before. I'd waxed it with like silica with like just their endurance chip. It just gives it like the doubles or triples longevity of the chain treatment. And I remember when I pulled the chain out of the wax, one of the bushings between the plates had popped out. And I had another chain, which I thought was the same model of Shimano chain. So I pulled the bushing off. It was 0.1 of a millimeter off. So when I put the master link in, it jammed and it wouldn't fold. I was skipping and I'm like, oh my God, this is now like, I'm riding to the start now. I put it on and I'm like, I wanted to maximize this stuff. So I was just going to like let the chain ride in, have the break in period, like in the race, like just to, again, maximize like drivetrain efficiency. And riding to the start, I'm like, oh geez, it's not working. I don't know what to do. And I went to Shimano and I'm like, there's people in, like, it's the day before the 200 and there's a huge lineup for tech support. And I basically went in front of all of them and I'm like, I know one of the guys there. I'm like, hey Sam, I started in an hour. Can you please help my chain's not working? So we ended up pulling the chain and Silica gave me just a new treated chain for the race, which was amazing. And then we were good. So I had that like little adrenaline boost from that. But other than that, I was just so much more relaxed than the 200, the 200 ever. Like I just went into it, no pressure. Like I'd had a nice few weeks at home, and with family, had some barbecues, went out for some nice dinners with my wife. It was just like, I'd done a lot of training and like biking, but it's like, I wouldn't call it, training. It's like, I think I hit the lap button like 2 or 3 times for like workouts in 3 weeks.
So I guess the Strava name for your Unbound XL Funbound it's an honest, you're not just being punny for the sake of being punny. It was more fun than doing the 200 mile. You actually enjoyed it more?
Yeah, way more. No, I think I like said it during the ride, like more than once, like just having fun with the boys, smashing it. Just like no weird coyness, nothing like that. It's just like, especially like as the group got smaller and smaller, it's one of those things where you just become more and more relaxed. Like I think the best was really the last few hours of daylight. I would say maybe the last 2 hours, hour and a half of daylight. It was just Lawrence, myself, and Lachlan riding into like the night. So it's dusk, and it's fun riding with guys like that because they have experience riding into the dark. And when you ride with experienced guys, nobody turns their light on early. Like inexperienced people will turn it on like the second it's dim out. The sun sets, it's still plenty bright, but they'll flick their light on. Experienced guys will run it and like run their like night vision until it's actually getting unsafe. And we ran it till it's like we were down here like running into stuff. Like, okay, we got to turn lights on. When you're just like ripping like that, it amplifies how fast you're going. Like, you might be going, 35, 45K an hour, but it feels like you're going like an F1 car, just ripping through corners and stuff. And that was so much fun. And then just like riding for the night, I really quite enjoy that. It's a special feeling to ride through into a sunrise. I had a really good ride. I felt really good. Even at the end, when I finally caught Lachlan, there's a few things I always remember. I was like, the sunrise was like incredible. Sunset was incredible. But as I was catching, I'm like, we didn't say what I'm gonna do. But I tried to do the blow by. I'm like, well, I kind of do a blow by. Like, I'm kind of cracked. I was like, part of my brain's like, do you just sit here and let him cook? And I'm like, no, I really want to draft right now after doing all this. So I think I'm just gonna like catch him. And then I just like rode by and like kind of gave him the peace sign. I was like, yo, what's up? Like said it out loud. And he just got this big smile across his face and like kind of patted me on the back. And I'm like, okay, this is sick. Like, and then deeper into like, I don't know, if 20 or 30K to go or something like that. We've just been taking turns, like no weirdness at all. Just it's like we just picked up where we left off like 8 hours earlier. And I just said, I'm like, man, I know we'll battle to the end or whatever, but like this has just been like an awesome day of bike racing. Like I really like this has been great. And this is exactly what I needed. And I think he was on the same page, like kind of reading his like Instagram posts is like, we're both kind of in our heads a bit going into the race. We both kind of got what we needed out of it. Just like that. Yeah. Satisfaction of just like a good old fashioned, like battle, hard day out biking. And it's simple, but it's so satisfying. And you don't get it as often as people might think.
There's a lot of things in your description of the race that I want to pick up on in a minute. But before that, I want to get to gear. You mentioned the chain, the snafu at the beginning, but what is the essential gear you had for this race? What are like the items for Unbound?
Yeah, so I probably have like a mix of like really like a lot of stuff that people maybe wouldn't take, and then I'm sure I'm missing stuff that people do take that I don't. One thing I took out of my kit at the last second was my spare battery and my Leatherman, just because like I'm so used to doing longer stuff, and I'm so like I'm kind of a Boy Scout when it comes to that, like being prepared for anything, and a Leatherman can fix a lot of problems that if you don't have it, you're just totally screwed. Battery pack, charge everything on your bike. But I'm like, okay, well, this is 19 hours. I'm not going into the wilderness. I think the German guy, Paul Voss was staying with, he's like, were you going to take your rifle too? Where are you going? I'm like, so I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. But so things that I bring on stuff like that, just because I've kind of been caught out through different experiences. Even though the weather forecast said it was going to be great weather, I brought a proper range, like a rain shell, lightweight, but still probably more than a lot of guys brought. Brought a vest, arm warmers, a hat, an emergency blanket, which is actually incredibly effective if you get in a lot of trouble. I'm pretty sure it might also be like a lightning magnet, but deal with that. Otherwise, I brought a small bottle of chain lube, a replaceable derailleur hanger, a ton of plugs. Just, it's Unbound, stuff can happen so fast. I had like one of those, I didn't bring CO2s. Silica now makes like one of those micro inflators. So I just brought one of those, which effectively is 4 CO2s and a pump. I always have a pump, even in the shortest, like fastest race. Like I will always bring a pump. And the number of times I've used that after my CO2's gone off improperly is like laughable. Yeah, in the bags, that's probably it. Like my top two bag, if you look at a picture of the bike, it's like that was just full of gels. I think I had between my bag and my pockets, I think I had 25 gels or something on me for the race, or 27 gels, and I ate all but one. And it's just because it had a lot of caffeine, and I felt like I had enough. So, but it was sort of my like if things are going sideways, last effort gel. Then on the bike, 2 1-liter bottles. Castelli had made a new speed suit, so I had a new speed suit that just carried the bladder for me, so I didn't have to carry a pack, which is nice. Carrying a pack sucks. Like it's fine for like adventuring, but when you're doing longer stuff, I swear I sweat more with the pack on than I do for the water it carries. So it always causes for me more issues. It's nice to have that extra space for stuff for sure. Like here, it carries my bear spray, more snacks, more clothes. Means I have to carry less of my frame, but it comes at the cost of, basically wearing like a heater. I had exposure lights and aero bars, the Black Ink aero bars. I had to actually buy aftermarket like AliExpress TT shifters. No one even noticed this in the bike, but it's like,
Really?
it's really, well, yeah, getting like basically Shimano doesn't make commercially available, from what I've been able to find, commercially available 12-speed TT shifters. It's really tough to find. So I had to find like these aftermarket ones that worked, because it's like, if you're going to use aero bars, you want to have like the full experience of like actually having like shifters. But yeah, it was really hard to find them. So like I have 11-speed ones, but they don't work because it's different wiring. Yeah. So I had to, but anyway, they were fine. It's great. So that was like a little tech hack I was pretty proud of. Like gearing, last year I ran classified. This year I had traditional Shimano gearing. So it's the same ratio, 50, 34 in the front, 11, 34 in the rear. I ran RX tires this year versus I think last year I ran Overlands. The RX is like their newest tire and I just love it. It's great. I ran 45 front and rear, and then the Fox taper cast fork, which you'll see I ride probably more than most other gravel racers. I just love that thing. So,
And that gives you 40 millimeters of travel?
I run a 40 millimeter one. They also make a 50 mil one, but my current Austro gravel frame is not suspension corrected. So putting on a 50 is a big change in stack height.
Mm. And did you carry enough fuel for the whole race?
I did, yeah.
And so then you only needed to worry about water?
Yeah, exactly.
And did you have a specific plan? You're like, I'm gonna get more water here, here, and here?
I thought I did, and then it changed. We were like riding, and I remember seeing like Lachlan set up pretty early on, and I'm like, shit, he's carrying so much water. He's not gonna stop for the first half. All right. So I remember saying to Lawrence, like, hey man, look, like Lachlan's kind of like 8 liters of water. Like I'm carrying, I think 4. So, and Lawrence maybe had 4.5. So we were on the same page, and like we raced together so much. At that point, he said he was going to stop at 244. I'm like, are you sure there's water there? Because what I read was basically we were going to be looking for like a shed with a like water spigot. He's like, yeah, it should be good. I'm like, okay. Like, because I'm like, are we going to be running around a town looking for like, a water spigot on the side of someone's like house? Like, that's kind of how it read to me. But I'm like, I did the math, like, because thank God we talked about it early on. So I just sort of like added it up. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I should have enough water. I guess all I need is water to do 250K, ration it a bit. But what made it truly doable was around 100K, give or take, as they're known in the like quote unquote ultra world, is like these trail angels. Effectively, it's like you're not allowed to take support unless it's something that's available to everybody.
Right.
Because the ultra police are very serious.
Right. So like you can go to a gas station because everyone can go to that gas station kind of thing.
Exactly. But if someone sets up an aid station on their property that has no affiliation with anybody in the race really, and has food enough for anybody who's coming by, that's also fair game. So we went by, and there's like people like having a barbecue, and there's like basically it was just this like random another neutral aid station effectively, and they had water and Coke and I think hot dogs or something. But yeah, like under like stacks of water bottles. So like I don't think it was like a race provided one. Maybe it was, but I don't think it was. Anyway, like, but they had enough for everybody was coming through. So we just came through and smashed like it's like Lachlan didn't stop, but he didn't tack either. He just kept on rolling steady. But you can tell it's like this wasn't like a fill up your bottles type thing. This was like a grab and go. So I think I grabbed 2 500 ml bottles and like just forced them down my throat. Had I not done that, I think it would have been much closer to go to 244K. That extra like 3/4 of a liter made a big difference in how I felt. But in that group, like we all stopped. So that was fair is fair. And I brought enough mix to get me through. I think I brought 3 or 4 packets of like 80 gram carbs mix. Yeah, that's 4 bottles. And then, like I say, I had enough gels to get me through, which like I hate myself for, but at the same time, it was really effective.
On the topic of those gels, I've spoken before with your fellow Unbound racer, Corey Wallace, and he's known for those 24-hour events. And he's spoken about palate fatigue at the end of those, or towards the end of those rides. Now, he's craving like a baked potato at hour 22. Were you having palate fatigue at, I don't know, hour 13, 16 of your race?
No, I ran like 3 or 4 different flavored gels, which I think helps a lot. I think it's also easier in your stomach to just have like a bit of a different fuel going in at times. So I had 3 different flavors. I had a couple treats, like just like the fancy Rice Krispie bars. Like they just have one texture. You're actually chewing something versus just putting back a slime. And then 2, it's like they actually had like a bit more flavor to them than just like pure sweetness. There's no like I get that in longer stuff for sure. Like when I do actual like real ultra distance stuff, like Badlands, I stopped at the store and just bought like a big bag of potato chips and we were trying to eat it and just like basically choking on half of them. But like that was like all my body wanted was salt. Another gram of sugar would have just blowing me out. So it ebbs and flows for sure. But something this I know it sounds ridiculous, but this short and this intense is just a bike race. It's crazy. I think I still averaged. I added up afterwards, and it was just shy of 100 grams an hour for the whole time.
Is that your limit?
Yeah, for me, I can do shorter races. Well, everything's shorter than that, but a 3 or 4 hour race, I can go up to like 120 an hour, and it's okay. But anything over that, like I've pushed over that in races, just like almost like overfueling, and it blows my stomach out big time. I have a hard time force feeding like that stuff even in training. You know, some guys will do 150 an hour. Like the guy Cam who won the 200 was damn near 200 an hour. Cam's a big boy, but like that's still a lot, and my stomach would just like, there'd be significant gastric consequences if I did that. But
While we're talking biology, how many pee breaks did you have?
it was pretty wild actually. So the first bit, I was like pretty proud of myself. I'm like, I really have to pee. Like we have a good gap and everybody else. And there's just 7 or 8 of us at that point. And I said to Ted King, like, do you think we can stop? I really have to pee. And Ted has more like, maybe we'll call it street cred or whatever in that group than I do. And so he just like said, hey guys, anybody want to pee? And we just all simultaneously like, yep, pulled over. I took a pee, which was like cool. I'm like, oh, this never happened in the 200. Mutual respect. Are you kidding me? Not when there's an opportunity for an advantage. So no, it was great. We stopped, peed, moved on, and then obviously the race goes on. And I don't think I stopped again to pee after that. Like I peed off the bike probably 6 times. Like I was pretty impressed actually my hydration at that point. But almost to the point where it was getting annoying. I'm like, really again? I just went. But some of them was pretty funny because like you're ripping into the dark, you can't really see anything. And you do what you do. You just stand up and kind of like let it go off the side of the bike. And I'm sure it's getting all over my shoe, but you can't see it, so you're just sort of like ignorance is bliss, right? But yeah, probably I'm sure is at least half a dozen times through the course of the race that I peed, but I only stopped once.
I have to confess, I asked about the pee break by design because I heard you and Ted King talking about it on his podcast. And it actually got me thinking sort of the way both of you seem to appreciate the ability for that group. I think you were in a group of about 8 to 10 riders at that point, that everyone, okay, I'm going to use the phrase that you can't say without an eye roll. Everyone sort of followed the spirit of the race, the spirit of gravel. And it's like, okay, we're going to be gentlemen. We're going to follow some manners and respect and just do what we got to do and then get on with it. Now, in your race, I also feel there was another, let's call it a choose your own spirit of gravel adventure moment. You've mentioned riding with Lawrence Tendam. He got a flat. What did you do in that scenario and why?
I mean, this is the nice thing. This is like, so Lawrence and I, we've raced each other for a very long time. We've had some pretty good battles over the years, like 2022 Unbound, for example. Even off the front, got caught, blew up. And then we rode together for like the last 60 or 80K and just squeezed the lemon until there's nothing left. And same thing like in Transcordilleras last year. Like I think I really forced him to dig deep to win that one. He had this plan to go into it, but it's like I don't think he expected just how crazy I was to ride to the night of Columbia with basically a pen light. So there's quite a bit of mutual respect from us. And it's like we also know we're true competitors. Kind of like same thing with Lachlan and I, right? It's a very good battle, and it's a battle. So all is fair in love and war. He got a flat, and I was like, what do you want to do? He's like, yeah, okay. And because you tell he's like, he was resigned. It's like I got a flat, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna keep rolling. He's like, yeah, no, go. I catch up or I don't, and then okay. So I didn't attack him or anything. Not that you can really attack in a 17-hour race, but I kind of kept rolling, and then I'm like, dude catches me or he doesn't. Like, I'm gonna roll, and I head down and just like kept on rolling at the pace because it would have been nice, right? Like it's like, I don't wait, you split the work. Like then it's like maybe for sure we catch Hockey, 2 guys. I wait a minute, I get to chill, and then we get 2 guys working. So it's like you have to like do the math on this, right? You're not just like looking at another hour or 2. You're looking at 10 more hours of racing and like having a draft for 10 more hours, but then realizing, okay, well, at best, that's going to be a 2-minute change. Like find the hole in the dark, plug it, hit it with CO2, get back up to pace. That's 2 minutes minimum. I'm like 2 minutes. I'm like, I don't want to wait for like 2 minutes plus like gap, so it's 3-4 minutes. So I'm like, like I just rolled. When I talked to him afterwards, there was no, like, I waited for him to finish and stuff, and there was zero anything but like, again, respect. Like, he was stoked that I'd won. He had had his own day. He rode hard and kind of blew up. He was saying, it's like, I saw your light and I was chasing, but yeah, then, he just sort of disappeared into the night and I couldn't keep going. So, because he ended up getting overtaken by Robin, and then so Lawrence was fourth in the end.
Rob Britton, the last time you were on the podcast in 2020, you said something that really struck me. And I've used this quote, I used the quote to lead off that episode, and I've since quoted you to others. It was about how your mind wanders on long rides. Here's what you said, quote, "In some senses, I feel like I've solved the world's problems 10 times over, but it's like a dream. By the time you're done, you've forgotten everything you've thought about on the ride." End quote. What do you remember from the dreamlike moments of Unbound?
Yeah, it's funny, actually. It's pretty true. As I think back to it, I actually, again, because there's a big difference between pushing through one night and two, right? 2 nights of no sleeping, I think, does some pretty horrible things to your body and your mind. One night of not sleeping isn't so bad. So I do remember like lots of stuff. It's like looking like through a photo album, but in your head. So I can't remember. I couldn't give you like, frame by frame, but I could give you like snapshots. So I remember going through those like water bogs at the start, and that split the group. And I was like, I remember going into it and leading into it, and I'm like, yeah, this is sweet. And you just see these water things. You're like, well, hope I don't flap or crash, but I'm going through it first, and just like setting a hard pace and coming out. And the group kept getting smaller and smaller, and I was just loving it, feeling good, thinking I was probably riding too hard, but at the same time, like, well, give her what you have it. So that's a snapshot. The P thing was a snapshot. When the guys stopped at the gas station and we didn't, it's like another like clip. Rolling with Lawrence and Ted into the sunset, and the sunset was just like banging. That was like another like cool moment. I actually did what I rarely ever do in bike races, and like take my phone out and took a photo and a video of it. So it's cool. Another snapshot of the feed zone. Basically darkness. I ran over a badger. I'm sure it was a badger. Saw a possum, saw a turtle, saw tons of...
Okay, wait. Go back to the badger. Did you have to roll right over it? Did you bunny hop it? Did you bump it?
Well, I will say this. I'm pretty sure it was a badger. And if it was, I'm not worried about its well-being. It was probably just angry when Lawrence came by and probably tried to eat him, because it's just like the angriest animals in the world. Like, it was going to the left. I was like kind of in a compression, like roll down, roll up. So I was like in the like hoods, and I remember seeing it was going to the left, and then it decided it's like, no, it turned around and like went right in front of me. And I'm like, oh man, that's the big animal. And I pulled up as hard as I could. It was the last second. And it felt like I rode over like a sausage. Like I kind of squished it. So like I didn't hit it full on, because I think if I hit it full on, for sure I would have crashed. But it's like, yeah, chalk another one up to the freaking taper cast for getting me through that one. And I was like, and I went by and I just remember yelling out in the darkness, like, sorry, and kept on rolling.
Oh my gosh, you apologized.
I felt bad.
That is amazing.
Yeah, so it's like snapshots like this. Like another crazy one, there's the photo I actually posted for the whole event was I don't know if you saw on the Instagram, but it's this really cool like long exposure shot of me in the aero bars middle of the night, so you get the stars, the lights look like lasers.
Yes.
So that shot was actually, he's a friend of mine, and I didn't know he was there. And I just remember seeing, like, you're riding in Kansas in the dark, like middle of the night, probably 2:30 in the morning or something like this. And I see a car parked on the left-hand side of the road, and then like a tripod. I'm like, huh? Okay. But no cameraman. And then it's like my eyes caught this guy in the ditch, and then it's like, whoop, the flash goes off. That's why I look so dopey in the photo, because it's like my brain is processing like, so the photographer's name is Thomas Pren. So my brain's like, Thomas? And then it's like darkness again, and then you keep rolling, and I'm like, huh, that was weird. And then you keep on going. So it's like I have all these like little snapshots, more so than I probably would. Like I probably couldn't tell you anywhere near the same detail for like Badlands or even Seven Serpents. That's another like long one I've done where it's like, I'm like, I don't know. Your brain just, your short-term and your long-term memory kind of take a hit for that stuff.
This was by no means the first time you've raced against Lachlan Morton, the winner of last year's, let's call it shorter Unbound 200 miler. Tell me a bit about your connections with Morton.
Oh, Lockie. I have raced with Lachlan, or against Lachlan, I guess, my whole career, certainly his whole career. I remember when I first raced him, it was this like Colorado Air Force Base road race. This would have been 2010, 2011. I can't remember, one of the two. You just see this like scraggly looking kid, I mean, he doesn't talk much more now than he did then. And he just beat the piss out of all of us. And he's like 16 years old. I'm like, is this guy like Aussie kid? He was on Sugar Labs, like, Garmin's like farm team. Like he just rode around with us and played with us like a cat playing with like a mouse, and then eventually just rode away. And I'm like, huh? I thought it was pretty good. And this kid was better than all of us. But through the years, like I won Gila, he won Gila. We were racing for the last podium spot at USA Pro Challenge when he was on Jelly Belly that same year. Like, but I came out on top. What was it? He won Utah. I won Utah. He won Badlands. I won Badlands. I think he was second at Tracka. I was second at Tracka. We've done some pretty crazy like rides independently. So I think we're actually very, very similar. The difference is Lachlan's 10 years younger, so his body, I think, accepts punishment a lot better than mine. And he is, in my opinion, probably one of the best endurance athletes or ultra endurance athletes on the planet. Like he's just like, that's I kind of joke and call him Gravel Jesus, because it's like, man, water turns to wine with this guy. It's crazy. I remember we were racing SBT a few years ago, and this is like another kind of like little snippet just to give context. So we were racing. He had just finished Breck Epic, and I think he'd won. Because again, it's Lachlan. Why wouldn't he? And it starts SBT, 2 days later. So Breck Epic, I think, finishes on a Friday, and SBT was on the Sunday. Early in the race, he was sitting on or something, or not pulling, and kind of, I don't know, he did something that it's like I kind of gave him shit for, and then he kind of gave me shit back. And then it's like in the race, I was just like, of all the people to yell at, and I'm not a very vocal person. I know what made me surly. It's just probably because I know him so well, I guess, right? I think he apologized to me, and then I kind of apologized to him, and then we ended up like having a really amicable race after that, and finished, and he did his thing out of it, and I think it didn't talk to each other. But he had messaged me on Instagram a few days later, or a day later or something, basically as I had the app open, looking at it, thinking of how to send a message to him, but basically saying the same thing. And like, he's like, hey man, I'm sorry for like getting into that with you. I have a ton of respect for you as a person, and as like even more as a bike racer. Like, it's just heating them on bike race stuff. And like, it echoed exactly what was ringing around my head. I'm like, why did I say this to this guy? It's like, all the respect in the world for him. Cause like, yeah, it was one of those things in the bike race that they don't happen very often. And like, I'm not like, there's plenty of people I want to yell at, I just don't. And then, yeah, it's like to kind of get into it with Lachlan, I was like, what the hell? And then again, like after the race, we're both just like in that same mental space. Cause I think we both have that same level of respect and just like, I don't know, admiration for us, like each other. Like, so that would be my relationship with Lachlan.
What were the key ingredients, if you had to boil them down, behind your win at Unbound XL? I've heard you say this race was almost perfect for you. Everything went well, but what was the magic for this race?
Being relaxed probably was a big one. Just going into it with like a pretty even keel mindset. I think other races I'd put pressure on myself and had a hard time sleeping the night before, and like nerves are not always a good thing. I know everybody always says it's like you're nervous because you care, but I don't always think that's true. I think if you can't control those nerves, it's just wasted energy. And I was wasting it like it was going out of style earlier this year, whereas this race I was pretty chill going into it. I'd done a lot of big hard bike rides before, so like the training was actually good, even though I don't consider it training. I just consider it hard bike riding, the stuff I quite enjoy. So my preparation wasn't just like, sitting around drinking beers, going for coffee rides. It's like I still did plenty of good biking between Tracka and Unbound. I just don't think it was traditional training, what a lot of people do. And the XL is a combination of like a bike race and an ultra ride. Those two different mindsets. And I think I have a lot of experience in the bike racing department and a decent amount of experience in the ultra department. So
going over is kind of that 12-hour mark for a race. Going through the night is another one. You really kind of have to be prepped for that, knowing where to push, where not to. I have just a background in riding at a pretty high pace, at a pretty like steady level for a very long time. Just like that time trial or like long mountain stage kind of effort where it's just you hunker down and just get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And something like the Unbound XL is exactly that. And I've never done one as short as this, right? It's like, I know staying short in 17 hours is kind of an oxymoron, but it is really a short distance ultra, and in the world of ultra distance racing, right? It's under 24 hours. If they started it how most ultras start, like it's 6 or like kind of sunrise time, you'd finish in the middle of the night. So it would be and I think that's part of it. They want people to finish in the day, like the majority of the people to finish in the day, so that you get a bit of fanfare and stuff, and yeah.
I was actually wondering about that because I wonder if you're at an advantage for starting in the afternoon. Because if you start at 6 a.m., you're kind of losing sleep. You're up super, super early. But I don't know, did you sleep in on the day of your race? You just kind of roll up in the afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, I got like 10 hours of sleep the night before, which is pretty normal for me, actually. I still sleep. I sleep a lot. Yeah, I got lots of sleep. I was going to have a nap, but then it's like I'm too much of a scatterbrain, so I was still like running around doing stuff. But the whole morning was chill into you had to start around 1:30. I slept in, had like the double breakfast. Like it's a much more relaxing start. Whereas like the 200, you just feel like a bag of crap. The day before is stressful. You're on your feet all day, even though you don't want to be. You're running around like a crazy person trying to get all these things dialed in. It's hot. You try to eat and drink as much as you can during the day. You eat just like this stupid amount of food the night before. You're all puffy. Your body's trying to digest that stupid amount of food, so you don't sleep. You're full of nerves because you have to get up at 3:30. It's like all of this stuff no one ever puts in like the welcome to gravel brochure from like the World Tour. It's like you're racing Europe. It's like, oh, hey, it's gravel. What a great way to retire. Hang out with your friends, still get paid money. You do the bike races. It's like, it's great. It's like, I don't think I ever did a road race my whole like professional road career that started before 9 a.m. ever. Like I think Bose was an early, like Bose might have been like an 8:30 start or something, but Bose is weird, right? And even those you're just like, grumble because you have to be there at the start line at 7:30, right? It's just like, and you're yawning there. Dude, I've done like of all the gravel races, this is the only one that started at a reasonable hour, like 3 p.m. You're like, hell yeah, this is sick.
Right.
But like every other one, that's like, well, people are going to finish in the dark. I'm like, well, don't make them start in the dark if they're going to finish in the dark. It's just, that seems cruel. But yet here we are. Like, yeah, I just remember like the first year doing gravel, I'm like, all these races start at 7? Unbound starts at 6, or the Elite's 5:50. Like, yeah, didn't get a heads up about that. I might have prolonged the road career another year or two if I'd known that. But jokes aside, it's just like, yeah, starting at 3 was great. Like that was actually kind of a big selling feature in my head for the difference between this and the XL, or sorry, the 200 and the XL.
Right. That is so funny. How long or how safe do you think your Unbound XL record is? How long will it stand?
Probably about, I guess, 11 and a half months from now.
You think, eh? Like, are you being flip, or do you think that XL is going to get either more attention now? Maybe is it the Lachlan effect? What's going on there?
The Lachlan effect for sure. I would be shocked if he didn't come back and just absolutely friggin' shatter it, go like under 17. You get a couple guys rolling deeper into the night together for sure. Bikes are getting faster. If they go south, the south course theoretically is a bit quicker. So I foresee that time coming down again. I mean, it'd be cool, I guess, at this days, but I guess technically I could like get real specific and be like, well, I have the North Course record. In theory, they'll go south again next year, but I anticipate it going down. Right? That's just how bike racing is now. It's only getting faster.
In your career on the road, as you mentioned, you won the Tour of Utah. That was in 2017. Is it possible to compare that significant road success with your win at Unbound XL?
Yes and no, for sure. I know. This is definitely put more eyes on me than winning Tour of Utah, which is kind of hilarious in my mind.
Really?
Oh yeah, way more. I think I've garnered more fanfare since winning Utah or since racing on the road, which is obviously nice and like humbling. Yeah, like the thing is,
Well, they're two completely different things, right? Like it's not even apples and oranges. It's like apples and orangutans. Like they couldn't like they're bikes, but that's about the only thing they have in common. And but Unbound and it's Unbound XL, so it's even crazier. But it's like it's Lachlan. Like we need to be serious. It's like if Lachlan wasn't there, no one would have cared. Like they'd be, oh, cool, you won. But it's like when he's there, it changes things. It legitimizes things. It's like people had written their headline. It's like Lachlan wins XL in record time, and then he didn't, and that is why I think there is so much interest in this. Whereas like when I won Utah, it was it wasn't as big. It's not. It's a bike race in America, so it's a road bike race in America. So even though it changed things for me big time, like to have won something that big, it didn't have nearly the same interest from like I think it maybe like one podcast. Podcasts weren't as big then. Independent media or social media wasn't the same as it is now. But it's like I got a few hundred followers from winning Utah. It's like I got a few thousand from winning Unbound XL, and just like engagement from both sponsors and people in general has been much bigger than 2017. But again, that's 9 years ago or 8 years ago now. Like that's a long, long time ago. So things and how engagement is now versus then has changed. So yeah, I think they're totally different. But it is like I would still rank in my career like winning Tour of Utah is still the biggest result I've ever had. Professional road, I think, is still the paramount sport in cycling. It's certainly now it's harder than anything else by far. And this is special because Lachlan was there and really raised the attention, raised the bar of that event big time. So that's I think what made it really, really special and brought so many eyes to it. So if he does it again next year, it's like, yeah, I think he'll probably smash the record. But yeah, I think they're two different things, but I've definitely received more attention from the XL win than the winning Utah.
That is so wild. But as you break it down, it makes complete sense. Like, as you said, 2017 is a while ago. And in a way, the media landscape, especially for athletes and how they engage with people, has changed a lot. And yeah, to your point, like, or maybe I'm extending your point a bit, but like Tour of Utah was a notable race for people who followed road cycling. But, when you start getting outside of the core fan base, it's like it's still not the Tour de France, and that's what everybody can rhyme off the top of their head. So
big time.
That's what road cycling suffers from. But meanwhile, gravel, Unbound, it's not quite the Tour de France of gravel, but it is the marquee event.
Oh, big time. Yeah, it is the biggest gravel event in the world. And I don't know if that's maybe fully sunk into my head or not. It's definitely when you're there, you really see it. And yeah, being part of it and being like now a winner of a category on Unbound is pretty special for sure.
Has the win changed your perception of what you can do with gravel? Like, do you have any new goals now that you might not have considered before this?
No, I don't think so. I'm stoked to have won for sure, for better and worse, because there's two sides to every coin. I don't love the pure racing side of gravel. It's cool, and there's parts of it I do like, but I love the adventure side of it and the exploring side of it. I love that gravel affords me to be able to stay in this sport and be part of my like competitors and like the coworkers and stuff like for a longer period of time. I get paid, which is incredible. It's after a lifelong bit of working for it. It's great, but it's gravel's. It's interesting. I don't know if it's kind of like done all the stuff I wanted to do right now. Like when Unbound was like, it wasn't a goal ever. Like I've never been like even when I was road racing, it's like hey, show up to a race, be fit, and like the result will be the result of your hard work, not the result of like I was visualizing winning Tour of Utah. That's what I visualized for a year after getting fifth. It's like no, man. It's like I've like rolled into Tour of Utah, being like trained my ass off. Now let's go to work and see what happens. And that's pretty much how like every race I've approached. I've never been like a results person. So it's like when I think of like stuff I want to do, it's like I don't think like, oh, I won Unbound. what next? What's going to be the next one I can win? And so I'm like, it's like Bright Midnight looks like a cool race in Norway. Like maybe go there, or like, it's like, this mountain race, like that was a pretty cool one. Or maybe I ride my bike from Victoria to Saskatchewan. It's like, can just do that because it would be like a pretty cool thing to go from where I live to where I used to live. Like, and just that one ride, I'd do more time on the gravel roads in the place I grew up for 20 years than I have cumulatively ever before. So it's like stuff like this. Those are the thoughts that go through my head. What I can tell you doesn't go through my head, or what does, like, and what I don't want to do is do another year where it's like, okay, next year I'm going to do Sea Otter, and then I'm going to do Traca, and then I'm going to do Race X, and then I do Unbound, and then I'm going to do SBT. It's like, there's certain races that are basically obliged by contract to go to. That just you have to go to. It's almost like like Sea Otter, for example, it's a trade show, but a bike race. You got to go. You got to go Sea Otter. It's grown on me over the years, but doing the same circuit over and over again, and I know that's part of being a bike racer, but I lived that life for my period during road racing, and I chased the NRC circuit. I did the kind of the North American big like stage race tour, California, Utah, Colorado, yeah, and I don't want to do that again. I'm aware that I have less time in bike racing now than I did when I started. That's how she goes. So in my last however many years that is, whether it's 1, 3, 5 more years, I want to do as many new things as I possibly can. So when I'm like done traveling and it's like my attention and priorities change to being at home more and more, I am truly satisfied with it's like, oh, I got to do so many cool things and look back at like a career I can be proud of for other reasons than just like bike racing results. Like I have enough of those now that I've achieved way more than I ever thought I'd have in a sport where I was like initially not very talented. So to have the results that I've had in like bike races that I think means something is just like, we're good. Like that's awesome. So now it's like feeling a different level of satisfaction.
To wrap up, you kind of mentioned this at the beginning or close to the beginning. What's ahead for you this year? What are you stoked about in 2025 that's coming up?
Yeah, not too many people know this, but I guess not after this. Like, so I don't have, I haven't really booked myself up after a BC bike race. So, I do Gravel Nationals this weekend. I'm home for a week. I do like a little event here in Victoria on the solstice. And then I do Oregon Trail Race. That finishes on a Sunday. I fly home. I start BC bike race on the Monday. That's 7 days. And then I don't have any races until Rancho Gravel Series final at the end of September. So I have some commitments in there, like different rides and like some engagements and stuff. But yeah, the first half of the year was for me pretty heavy with travel and racing. And then there's kind of a gap in the schedule. Like if you're not going to Grand Prix, which I'm not, like I'm not going to go do Leadville. SBT is now the same weekend as Oregon Trail Race. I think even there's a gap in Belgian waffle rides. Don't have an infinite budget, so I can't just travel around. There's other Gravel Earth Series races, but it's like I was going to go to the Rift last year. Like I paid attention, I just never went. But I think the Rift is like a day after BC Bike Race, so I'd be like pretty roasted from that. Single Track 6 would have been cool, but again, that was a really fun event. But that's 2 days after BC Bike Race, so that would have been a Grand Tour worth of racing days with only one rest day.
The gravel schedule is just too busy.
Yeah, so it's like I'm kind of stoked just to be at home for the summer, do some cool adventure stuff, get out. Like I haven't gone bike packing for fun in like almost 2 years. So like just go to an overnighter somewhere with my friends would be really fun. Actually being present in my like family's life would be great, which is like the whole reason why I stopped racing road, or one of them, being present in my friends and family's lives, like, and just being relaxed and enjoying it. Like we moved into a house last year versus like a condo, and just like anybody who's ever like moved into a house realizes basically you purchase a work project for the rest of your life, and you're like, we could do this. What about this? And how about that? So doing some of this stuff is cool. And like, I really enjoy my job with Factor. There's like some projects that we're working on that it's fun being engaged with like the engineering team with that and like giving feedback after a career of doing this stuff. I think I can actually translate the tech talk from cycling nerd bike racer to engineering nerd like numbers talk in a way that like both sides understand.
No, that's an art because, yeah, sometimes there are riders who are just like, it doesn't feel good. And then being able to tell the engineer how and why is clutch.
Exactly. And like, and why we need this tire clearance, or why like this kind of geometry is good, or it's like, you know, it's like Brazons make sense in this format for this reason, blah, blah. Like all of this stuff, being able to like put it into context where they like, then they go and do just their crazy engineering stuff. And like, I don't fully understand sometimes when I'm seeing like the, you know, the CAD drawings, it's like, okay, guys, like this, I'm glad I'm included on this email thread, but at this point you have to realize like, I didn't go to school. So, but looks cool. Love it. But yeah, man, so it's like the summer is pretty bland with bike racing, but I don't think it'll be short of doing plenty of bike stuff. And I think that's the kind of thing that, like, obviously we're all kind of entrepreneurs, self-employed people. It's, I think, what regular people can also appreciate is just going and doing fun stuff on your bike. And those are like kind of the stories I like to tell. And also like the stuff like just when you like talk to people, it's like you can just like just shoot shit about doing like, it's like, oh yeah, I rode here. It's like, oh, what's that like? Cool. I've never been there before. It's like you can have like real talks and be like, you know, when I was racing my bike in this place, it was this, and people like they kind of glaze over after a minute. So yeah.
Well, Rob, I always enjoy your stories. I really appreciate you sharing them with me, with the listeners, and I hope there's more stories to come. Thanks for your time today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's fun to chat.
And that's the episode. It is written and edited by me, Matthew Piaro, and I had help from Matt Hansen. Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
I really did miss you. It's been so long since you've been on the pod. It's good to have you back.
I'm nodding.
You're not. Yes, okay. You're still well practiced in the art of the podcast. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
This episode of the Canadian Cycling Magazine podcast is produced by Adam Killick. He did the music too. Special thanks to Ontario Creates for its support. One of the things I recently wrapped up, Matt, as you know, is getting ready for the launch of the Cervelo Aspero 5. That's a pretty interesting gravel bike. Cervelo's made some interesting decisions about what a rider needs at a race like, maybe not Unbound XL, but Unbound, Mid-South, Belgian Waffle. So everybody, check out my story on the new Cervelo because, yeah, it dovetails nicely with some of the points I discussed with Rob Britton. Although, yeah, I don't imagine this bike would be great for XL.
Maybe the easy version of Unbound. The quick one. The sprint.
The 200-mile sprint. Although I did find it interesting, Matt, that Rob kind of had some insight, and I stole this kind of discussion point from you. You often make the point that riders do get a fitness boost a little after doing something like the Tour de France or the Giro d'Italia, and I was wondering if something of the same nature would help Rob at Gravel Nationals. He said probably not Unbound XL, but he did point to, say, a rider like Andrew L'Esperance, who did, you know, the short Unbound and did pretty good at Gravel Nationals.
300. Yeah, just a little light ride.
Anyway, shall we wrap it up there?
Let's wrap it up there.
All right. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Ride safely, and we'll talk to you later.